Welcome to Thriving in Our Forties. Today we are talking skincare and makeup. Now, I don't know about anyone else listening, but as I get older, I become more and more confused about what I should and shouldn't be using on my skin. Should I be using retinol, for example? Should I be taking collagen? Should I be trying tweakments? There is so much information out there that I become a bit like a rabbit in the headlights and I get overwhelmed and I end up doing nothing. So that is why today I'm thrilled to have Tahira on the podcast, a makeup artist for over 20 years and now a conscious beauty expert who helps women in their 40s and beyond make better beauty choices. Tahira, welcome to Thriving in Our 40s.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, it's so lovely to have you, and I'm going to grill you today. I'm going to get
Okay.
all your information because I would love you to shed some light, like I said, on what we should or should not be doing to really help both our skin and our confidence at this stage of life. For want of a better word, glow. So we're going to do a deep dive into skincare and makeup, and yeah, get your wisdom and expertise. S-
Amazing. Well, the first thing we're going to do, because I'm a life coach as well, is we're going to walk away from using the word should. And we're just going to say
Okay.
we're going to try different things. And I'm also going to caveat and parentheses all of this with we are all so individual. So I'm going to give you kind of broad line tips, but it's always really good to first of all, check in with yourself, your body. You know yourself. Trust yourself to know more than you think you do. Also, then ask advice from like humans or individuals. You can always contact me or anyone else in your neighborhood or that is an expert that can actually see you and talk to you as well. Because again, it is also individual and sort of we sometimes need a little bit more tailored advice, but I'm going to give you lots of really good broad lines to take away today.
It's absolutely, you hit the nail on the head because I will go on and talk about when I went to go and buy some makeup recently. I went in and I saw a person and it didn't go as well as I thought it was going to be because of various things that I'll get onto. But you're absolutely right. You need that personal touch, don't you? But let's kick off by starting about skincare because in our 40s, lots of things are changing. What are the key changes that are happening to our skin at this stage of our lives?
So the first thing that's happening is there's a lot of internal shifts. Obviously, we all know our hormones are doing all the hormoning that they're doing. And then there's just the whole kind of system of your life has now been around for X amount of years. And depending on how you have lived your life up until this point, that's going to start to sort of have an effect. Our bounce back rate, our rebound rate, as it were, is not what it was in our 20s, for example. So, really, I'm all about like a really inside out approach. So, definitely make sure you're eating well, sleeping well. And by well, I just mean, eat a varied diet that makes sense to you, reduce processed food, try to reduce sugar. But like, I am not a teetotaler, I am not a sugar free person. I could probably do a lot better, but just really being conscious and aware, not going with any sort of extreme fads. I would say, look, I'm not a nutritionist, but really making sure that from the inside out, and I'm talking from a mind, body, spirit situation here. So, really, making sure you're hydrating. I don't love just drinking water. I drink a lot of herbal tea. I go like crazy in the herbal tea aisle. So that's like my hydration, but I'm making sure that I'm hydrating that way. Eating well and then really being mindful of your sleep. Like don't, we know what to do. Don't scroll late at night. If the news is really affecting you, don't watch it past 4 o'clock. If caffeine really affects you, don't have that past 3 or 4 o'clock and maybe move to a more herbal tea or something that's non caffeinated. Not too much processed foods, not too much like sugar, and that kind of stuff to help aid your sort of sleep and like, reading before bed or listening to some calm music or sleep meditation. All of this will help because what's happening is your whole metabolism, your whole system is just not working as well as it did. Your cells are not renewing as well. You're losing bone density. So what happens in terms of our face, which is really irritating because this is the one there's very little we can do about this, is we're actually losing all over our body bone density, which is why, in our 40s, we need to be doing more strength and resistance training to help against osteoporosis. But what happens in your face is those cheekbones start to lose density. So there's less for your muscles and tendons to hold on to. And that's why we get that kind of proverbial sag. And they kind of say that a youthful face is sort of more like an inverted triangle. Whereas as we go through the midlife, the sort of cheeks, the sides, the jowls, that starts to fall. But part of it is a slackening of the muscles, part of it is a slackening of the skin, but part of it is just these bones that are in our face that have been scaffolding and holding everything up are just kind of like, which is a bit, I don't know. I mean, if you're listening into this in the audio, just think shrinking motion with her hands. Now, I have to say, I'm going to be a little controversial here. I don't believe in full sunscreen all day, every day, all the time, unless you
Mm.
are very, very sensitive to the sun and you have like maybe very fair skin with lots of pigmentation. I kind of believe in a little bit of healthy sun. Like I'd read this thing at one point that Scarlett Johansson does like 7 minutes of unfiltered like sun per day. And there is some like we need our vitamin D. We need to be out there. I also know that, say for example, if you work in an office that has loads of windows and you are facing the sun all day, then absolutely wear sunscreen inside.
Mhm.
But for example, the other day I knew I was going to be in a really in the center of a shopping mall in a building where I wasn't actually going to see the sun for like a full 8 hours, so I wasn't overly concerned about making sure I had my sunscreen on that day because like I knew what I was going to be doing, and actually I wanted, so that little bit of daylight that I was going to be getting at the
Mm.
top and bottom of the day, I don't mind getting that little moment. But that's a very controversial thing, and I know a lot of people would just disagree with me on that. So
Let
I'm
let
okay with
let
people
me.
disagreeing with me.
It sparks a conversation, doesn't it? Let's get into a skincare routine because
Yeah.
it'll be useful to know whether people are in a routine or not. What
Hmm.
is a good daily routine that we should be incorporating at this stage?
Okay. So whether you wear makeup or not,
Hmm.
cleanse your face at night, because just being out in the world, or if you are wearing sunscreen and that's it, there's just going to be stuff and grossness on your face, especially if you live in an urban environment. So at night, you definitely want to be washing your face. What's also happening generally at this stage in life is a loss of moisture. The system's not working. The whole body system is working differently than maybe it did 15, 20 years ago. Your collagen, your elastin is doing different things than maybe it did a few years ago. Your digestion is doing different things. So you're absorbing, vitamins and minerals in different ways. So we want to stay hydrated as much as possible. And at night is when your cells are renewing. So this is often why people will be more able to tolerate, say, a thicker, richer night cream. And this is a really good time to really kind of infuse that hydration. So nighttime, that's why you tend to get thicker, richer creams
Hmm.
that you can wear. A lot of people will be on the retinol route. This is a great time to do this at night. I know there are more retinol products that are coming out from different companies that you can use in the day as well. If you have any sensitivity, if you're prone to pigmentation, if you have irritation, I would just err on the side of caution with that. But
What
and
does
my
retinol do? What does retinol do, Tahira? What's
so
the
you're
benefit of it?
it's just like an overall renewal situation,
Oh,
antioxidizing, and like it's just it just has a whole plethora of things that it's going
okay.
to be doing for you. Other kind of newer, not newer, but like more popular at the moment ingredients that we're seeing a lot are things like ceramides. Oh my gosh, I get so hard time trying to pronounce all these things sometimes. Niacinamide. Oh my
You're
gosh,
doing
I
very
am
well.
not a chemist. I am not a chemist. Um, but the truth is if you have like very sensitive skin, for a lot of people,
Mhm.
retinol doesn't feel very good. So at night, I'm just going to stick to at night for a moment in terms of a
Mhm.
night routine, because this is a really good time. First of all, we tend to have more time at night. We tend to have a little
Mhm.
bit more time for that skincare routine. So while you're cleansing, a face massage, like using an oil or a balm cleanser, really massaging that in, rinsing it off, or using a cloth to get it off to really get that dirt off, and really like oxygenating your skin through this massage. Some people like to do a gua sha with like a balm cleanser. So you could do it at this stage or you could do it after. This is all around the lymphatic drainage, the like oxygenating, like getting that blood to the skin, really working the muscles, relaxing the muscles. Like facial massage and gua sha is all about like softening that tightness. Like if you have a propensity to kind of clench your jaw, maybe furrow your brow. These are all things that will, the repetitive movement that causes lines. So working with your hands or like a gua sha tool, this is all different ways of like reducing the puffiness from like by with doing lymphatic drainage, um, activating the muscles and the skin and just relaxing. Because if you think about it, the way it was explained to me, which I thought was a really good way to explain it, when the muscles are soft and relaxed and can just do their thing, everything is working well. But if you've got this tightness. Think about muscle knots in your back, for
Mm.
example. You feel like your shoulders all like hoiked up because your muscles are knotted. Well, the same thing happens in your face. And we just want everything to move and drain as well as it can, the oxygen to flow all the way to like the skin, like the surface of the full, all the layers of the skin. That's what I'm trying to say. So
So
those kinds of movements at
can you
night,
just use
you
your
can just
fingers?
use your fingers. God gave you these
Sure.
amazing things, so you can use your fingers. There's
Okay.
loads of great routines out there. You can use your knuckles like really gently along your jawline, along
Yes.
your cheekbones, and you can use the sort of, if you're listening to this and you can't see, that first knuckle right below your nail. If you use that going upwards motions on your forehead towards your hairline, that can feel really nice. This is all really good
Interesting.
ways just using your hands. And you want
Yeah.
to be doing this with either a balm and oil cleanser or at the end of your routine when you've applied, say, a facial oil or something. You really want a lot of slip
Okay.
because
So
you don't
you're
want to be
working it in.
pulling the skin. Yeah, you also don't want to just be like, you don't want any drag on the skin. So sticking to
Sure.
at night, you've cleansed. You're going to use a retinol product if it's good for you, like hydration serums. There are more and more serums that kind of have a lot of different of these ingredients in one serum that could be quite useful rather than layering three or four or five or six products.
Okay.
Keeping in mind that if that's the case, sometimes the concentration of each individual ingredient might be lower. So just being aware of those things. These are choices that you
Mm.
can make. And then you want to apply your moisturizer. So in general, you kind of want to go from thinnest texture to thickest texture,
Mm.
more or less.
Mm. Mm.
Um, you can also have like there are nighttime facial masks. Those tend to be kind of a thicker cream. You can also just do a hydrating mask at night and then take it off and then apply, say, some skincare. I
And
love
with
a
a
facial
mask.
oil. Sorry?
Oh, okay. I was gonna say quickly with a mask. You obviously are not doing that every night. Is that once, twice a week?
It depends. So sometimes, like if it's a hydrating mask and you've got super dry skin, your skin may be able to tolerate it, especially, say, for example, in winter with the heating on. Now that
Mhm.
I think one of the things that I really want to impart is just be aware, like listen to yourself, listen to your body. If First of all, you'll know in your body if you're talking to someone and they're just trying to sell you a product or if they're just genuinely trying
Mm.
to help you. You will know if you've moved seasons and now the kind of area, maybe just on the top of your cheeks under your eye, is feeling more dry. That's like my dehydrated spot. You will know if a product that you're using is not working for you, maybe either anymore or at all, because maybe it's causing you irritation, maybe it's
Okay.
causing you spots. Like just listen and don't
Mhm.
think that you don't know, like you know more than you know.
Yeah.
But
Have
know
that
that there's
confidence.
our yeah, and know that there's changes that are natural from season to season at different times of year. And then just a word
Okay.
on face oils. So I get asked a lot about face oils. From the age of like 33, 34, 35 to 45, I actually didn't use a moisturizer. I could not tolerate the feeling of a moisturizer on my face because my skin is very both dry and dehydrated. Dry is when you're lacking oil, dehydrated is when you're lacking water. Often we have a combination of both. And then oil rich skin is usually more obvious. You tend to get shiny, maybe you get spots, or you just constantly have that you just have an oilier skin. People who have oily skin
Okay.
kind of know. You can have oily skin that's dehydrated on the surface. So you kind of have
Oh
like
my
maybe
God.
a thicker skin, but on the top it feels like you can
Yeah.
see those little lines. It's
Yeah.
intricate. But so for all those years, I wasn't able to use a moisturizer because what would happen is I would apply it and I could feel the water evaporating out of it right
Yeah.
away, and I would be
Mhm.
left with a sense of tightness anyways. Like I'd use a
Yeah.
moisturizer and I'd still feel tight, even creamy, rich ones. So I used a facial oil. And then slowly over time, that started to change. 42, 43, I was like, oh, this oil's not working for me anymore. And stuff that I'd used for years. And from the age of about 44, 45 into 46, definitely was absolutely the change. I now use a moisturizer and an oil. Like that's how dry my skin is. Like I can really tolerate both. And now if I just use one, it just doesn't work. I feel dehydrated if I only use an oil, and I feel dehydrated if I only use a cream. But if I use them both together, it works for me somehow. So that's just my skin. And like I said,
And that's through
I know it's irritating, but we're all different. And I'm just trying to give you broad lines here.
No, absolutely. And I think it's worth knowing that there's the different stages that you can go to. You don't have to use all of those. Like you
No,
said, depending on whether your skin is sensitive or dehydrated, whatever the situation might be. If if we were to narrow this down to here, our lives are busy and we can't go through that routine every night. Do you say always use one product over the other, or again, it depends on your skin on that particular day?
that routine takes me like 4 minutes.
Oh, does it? Okay. Even the massaging bit.
Yeah. It's like a minute. I'm not
Oh,
talking about like a 10-minute. Like if I have 10 minutes, I'll do 10 minutes. Or sometimes while I'm watching TV, then I'll um do a little massage and stuff, but it doesn't have to be hours. So if you think of like
okay.
really like using that pressure while you're massaging, do the da da da, like that can be
Yeah.
1 minute, you rinse, 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 like 30 seconds for each layer of serum, another,
Does it
one or
have to
two
sink
minutes
in?
for. So
Does
it
everything have to
depends.
sink?
So it depends. So at
Okay.
night, it's less important. You do need to mind your
Okay.
layers sometimes because sometimes anything that has a really gel kind of base may not layer very well with a cream on top.
Okay.
So but a lot of serums, like a lot of brands that like reputable, especially in organic and conscious and natural beauty, the formulations kind of work because it'll be kind of, there'll be oil blends in there. In the daytime, it can be a bit more tricky because if you're late, you have generally have less time in the morning. You layer your skincare, and if you have something that kind of has a gel finish to it, and then you layer it with a cream, sometimes you get that pilling, like the makeup just like either the skincare itself, they kind of pill and make these little bits together, or
It's-
you go apply your makeup on top, and then the makeup kind of slides off and
Yeah.
gets these little bits. So
Yeah.
that's why I tend to have like serums that always have like some sort of oil or creaminess to them, or I know that they layer well. That
Yeah.
and
Okay.
in general, like even like there's a beautiful Cora Organics vitamin C serum that I absolutely love that is a little bit gel in its sort of texture, but it generally doesn't have any pilling effect for me because it just layers very nicely. Um,
Well, let's get on to the daytime
that's
routine then.
exactly what I was gonna say. You read my mind. So taking you
Perfect.
to a morning routine. Now, a lot of people talk about cleansing in the morning. I don't always know that it's necessary. I think it kind of depends on your skin. It depends if you've cleansed the night before properly. It
Hmm.
depends. There is such thing as like over stripping, there's a lot of people with irritation and it's like a compromised skin barrier, different kinds of, problems with the skin. That is because sometimes there's just like too much going on. You're doing too much or too many irritants, like this whole thing of like, daily exfoliants and stuff. I'm a bit like, I always get a bit wary of those because you're really like stripping the skin every day and you're
Yeah.
not allowing it to do what it's supposed to do, which is be a barrier for stuff coming in, right? So in the morning, sometimes occasionally I'll cleanse. I'll tell you when I'll cleanse. I have a really great, again, Core Organics. I don't mean to be talking about it, but that's what I have. They have this turmeric cleanser that's a bit foamy and it's got like a little bit minty. And if I feel puffy, if I feel like I've had too much salt the night before and my face feeling a bit like, "Ugh," or I haven't slept very well, that's a really good waker upper. And then I kind of get that drainage, that freshness from that. Or if my skin feels dry sometimes in the morning, especially in winter. Now we're coming out of that. Your skin feels like it's pulling a little bit. It feels
Hmm.
tight a little bit, especially around the eyes or on the forehead. That might be some dehydration. So then kind of might do a little balm cleanser, a really just quick go of it just to kind of replenish. Often what I'm doing in the morning though is using now especially again, this is a lot of advice for dry and dehydrated skin, but there's all these amazing like toners and tonics now, either in a mist format or in like a liquid that I would actually just apply in my hands. So this is a trick from the amazing Sandra Lanshin, who is an incredible traditional Chinese medicine practitioner and gua sha expert in New York. And you know how we're always taking our toner and putting it on a cotton and putting it on our skin? Well, we're
Yeah.
losing half the product in the cotton. She's like, no, 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 no. Just put it on your hands and massage it in the way you would a moisturizer. Just like push that water that into your pores. And I'm like, yes, Sandra, I'm going to do that. Honestly, it makes a huge difference. So I have a few, I mean, of course, I'm lucky I get all this stuff sent to me to try, but like toners, I kind of call them toners plus. They have like extra, maybe they're a toner with hyaluronic acid in it. Maybe they have extra little oils. Like they have all this, there's a whole gamut and range of like kind of toners plus. So I'll put a bit of that in my hands if I'm feeling tight and dry, massage that in. Then you want to go in with your serum. So, I mean, for me, serums really supercharge your moisturizer. If you have to choose anything, choose a moisturizer over a serum, and always spend money on. If you have a budget and you have to choose, spend the money on the skincare. Don't spend the money on the makeup. And if you have to choose again,
Yeah.
don't spend the money on the stuff that you're going to wash off. So don't spend money on the cleanser, spend money on the moisturizer and the serum. Don't spend money on the shampoo, spend money on the conditioner. Does that make sense?
I
Like
love
the
that.
stuff
Makes
that you're going to
complete
leave
sense.
on your face that has to last and act and work and do, that's where you want to spend your money.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
with skincare, broad lines, you get what you pay for, but you
Okay.
don't always need to go luxury. Sometimes you're going to get a natural markup from whatever brand because they are whatever brand. Sometimes you're going to get a markup because that company is based or that product is made far away. Sometimes you're going to get a markup because it is premium ingredients. And remember, premium ingredients often work better than a non-premium ingredient, but to a point. So I'm not like, I don't know. I get a bit
Could, could,
annoyed
could, could you give could
because
you give some suggestion? Could you maybe give with all the brands that you work with? Could you give a couple of pointers in direction because it is so vast to hear it,
it
isn't it?
is
You
so
walk into
vast. It is so vast.
any.
Let me just finish this routine for a
Oh,
second.
sorry.
So what I would
Yeah.
say, no, no, that's
Okay.
fine. So in the morning, I love anything with hyaluronic acid. I love anything with vitamin C. These are all like really protective for the day because like I'm going to go out in the world, I'm going to be facing all the pollutants, I'm going to be facing people. So those are serums that I definitely use have either separately or together within one serum again.
Okay.
Um, Often you can have the same serum morning and night, not always, but often you can.
Hmm.
And then a daytime moisturizer. So this generally tends to be lighter. This tends to be something I'll be layering with maybe a sunscreen on a lot of days.
Hmm.
Another word on sunscreen is a dedicated sunscreen product or a moisturizer with sunscreen in it is generally better than a makeup product with sunscreen in it. So for the actual protection of the sun, it's okay
Fine.
to layer. So I will layer. So I'll wear because my skin is so dry. Again, I can tolerate it, but I'll layer a sunscreen. Like I'll have my moisturizer. I will go brush my teeth. I'll do my hair. I'll get dressed, and then I'll layer again a sunscreen and often a makeup product with sunscreen in it.
Fine.
I just feel more
Why
protected that way.
why not necessarily the makeup with the sunscreen?
It's just the quantity of product you need to have on your face in order to reach that level of protection that the product is claiming to reach.
That
If you
makes
just
complete
put like
sense.
a little tiny drop, like I don't care if you're using SPF 50, if you're using the tiniest drop and it's not going all over your face, it's not doing anything,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
Completely.
I'll layer and then give that sunscreen a little bit of time before
Okay.
applying makeup and stuff. Just just let the things layer and set. But yeah,
Okay.
if you have to choose, always moisturize. That's the one. If you have to choose, yeah,
Moisturize, moisturize, moisturize.
moisturize,
Um,
moisturize.
and
Products.
so products, yes. What can you recommend? And if I know we've been talking about dry skin, if you could all maybe suggest something for sensitive skin, or maybe the
Okay.
slightly oilier skin as well? That would be fabulous.
Absolutely. Okay, so one thing about sensitive skin, let's be try and become aware of maybe if you're someone who's always had sensitive skin, it just might be the way you're built. Be aware of like the products you're using, any irritants in your environment, be aware of your microbiome, like what you're eating, your diet and stuff. So just be have an awareness. My favorite sensitive skincare line are of two is Balmonds, which is made down here on the South Coast. They really specialize in eczema friendly products. So their hero is Skin Salvation, which is like a really thick balm, but they have a whole range. They also have the best hand cream, like one of the best hand creams. They have a whole range for sensitive skin, like moisturizer, cleanser. They've got a great serum. Like, so their Super 7 serum is really
Okay.
inexpensive, really affordable, and very, very good. Every time I
Okay.
mention it, they get a bunch of sales. So there you go. Um, and PAI are also my favorite, another British brand, another gorgeous British brand, also conceived for sensitive skin. I think at the origin was around like eczema, psoriasis, sensitivity, but really they really have a full range products. They even have a really good sunscreen for sensitive skin.
Okay.
Um, so those are like my two off the top of head sensitive. For oily and oil rich skin, I want you to talk to my friend Alex at Nini Organics, vegan organic skincare. Alex had very oily skin. He's developed a whole line of skincare around helping people with oily skin. So it's
Amazing.
all about, so there's one of the key products is a face oil actually, because the myth is that oily skin shouldn't use oil, but it's about using the correct
So,
type of oil.
okay.
So, and he's got like a whole like it's I think it's the Natura range. I believe they've just changed. They got invest. They went on Dragon's Den and stuff, so they've just changed a bunch of their stuff. But I love
I'll put
it.
it all
But
in the. I'll put it in the show
put
notes.
it
I'll
in
put
the
the
show
links in the show.
notes.
Yeah,
But I think
that's
it's the
perfect.
Natura Detox range, but it may have changed names, so please don't quote me
Okay.
on that. But and he's a really big believer in masks. Masks maybe instead of a serum or masks alongside a serum. Oh, he
Okay.
does like their hyaluronic acid is gorgeous. So for oily, rich skin, you're going to be looking at water-based moisturizers, mostly. At night, you may be able to tolerate still that richer cream, but look for formulas that are maybe made for more oil-rich skin. Or you want to be really looking at just some very, very simple products as well. Like, so you might also be considering instead of a blended face oil, so something that has a lot of different kinds of oils in it, you could just go for like a jojoba oil. Pure, clean,
Yeah.
simple, like an organic one. Neil's Yard do a gorgeous one. Not very expensive either. It's one ingredient, and jojoba is the closest oil to our natural sebum. So that's a really
Okay.
good kind of system. Um,
And then dry
yes.
skin, dehydrated
Dry
skin. What?
skin, dehydrated. Oh my gosh, don't get me started. So much. I'm obviously trying to think of what's in my cupboard at the moment, but there's always
Lots.
loads of, there's always lots. There's always lots. I'm just trying to think of what I finished. I am a big fan of Neil's Yard. There's a great company from Canada, which I've really enjoyed, Sahajan. They're an Ayurvedic brand. I will say their stuff is a bit rich now for me going, like for the winter, they were great. Now I'm going to be switching it up. Um, I love Irene Forte. Now, this is very much luxe or like natural based skincare, but the Irene Forte night cream is extraordinary and it's amazing and I love it and I adore it. A really good sort of unsung brand that has a lot of range of different products is Tropic Skincare. So they're an organic UK
Yes.
brand. They're really widely available online. And like their sunscreen is excellent. Their SPF 50 is excellent. They have some lovely toners, moisturizers. They're a really good standby for affordable, natural skincare that kind of, does what it says on the tin. They've got some gorgeous serums as well. Um, the organic pharmacy, I really enjoy their retinol night serum. Origins do some really good stuff, also a little bit more affordable.
Again, for
Yeah,
dry skin, we still talking about
yeah.
dry
A lot
skin?
of these bigger brands, like say for example, even like L'Occitane, Tropic, they'll just have a range, so they'll
Sure.
kind of have something for everyone. Um, I'm just kind of like going through my mental. Oskia are a gorgeous, another UK brand. Beautiful. Again, a little bit more premium. So they are really good for, like, I love their Renaissance mask is my favorite. Their Super 16 serum is also my favorite. Another
Mm.
really good brand, and this is really good for dry skin, more specifically, is Biossance. So Biossance are, I was going to say
Okay.
Canadian, they're not, they're American. Biossance is an American brand. You can get them on Cult. And they are, the core of their range is an olive oil based squalane, and they're really all about like hydration. They have a gorgeous rose sort of squalane serum oil, which is a really good product. They have an omega moisturizer, which is gorgeous. They have a gorgeous copper serum, which is really good for anti-aging, and a nighttime lactic acid uh, serum, which is great for anti-aging. There's just a billion products out there. There's a
There
billion
are
products,
so
and that's
many,
all
but
just off the top of my head. And I know I'm missing out on thousands that are all like linked on. I've got tons of links on my website. Come find
Sure.
me, or you can always message me and I'll help you. But yeah,
Well,
there's just a lot.
I'll put as many of those suggestions I can in the show notes. And like people, people can get in touch with you directly and give a bit
A
more of a
hundred percent.
personalized
Yeah, and
diagnosis.
I have an online consultation service which may be helpful in some cases.
Perfect. Okay, well, we're going to move on because I want to talk about treatments, Tahira.
Yeah, okay,
And
let's do it.
um, so it seems to be a skincare buzzword, but what are tweakments? And are there some that you recommend over others?
So I'm not the expert in terms of the semantics of exactly what comprises a tweakment now and what doesn't, because
Okay.
no, but
Okay.
just more in that, like, I feel like it's something that changes. So I'm just gonna say a tweakment to me is like an injectable that you can kind of not see, but that's the whole point of them now anyway. So I don't know. I'd have to look up the actual definition of
Yeah.
tweakment. But here's what I'm going to say. There's going to be invasive. So if I'm saying invasive, I'm generally talking there's a needle involved, and then there's to me non-invasive, invasive, which to me is on some level a bit more superficial.
Mhm.
I'm a little bit afraid. I'm not actually afraid of needles. I'm afraid, and I had this whole conversation. I've never done Botox because I'm afraid of the change it will do to my face. I'm very expressive,
Mm.
and I part of my business is all around skincare that works, and
Yeah.
I'm just scared it's going to change how I look in a way that makes me not be able to understand how other
Yeah.
things work. So that's one thing. But if that's for you, then happy days. So I can't super comment on it. I've never done it. Fillers,
Mm.
same thing. Never done it. The only thing I have had as an injectable, which was Profilo, which is considered a skin booster. And a
Okay.
skin booster, there are many, many, many of these. Profilo is basically just a brand name. And a lot of the things you hear about, the Morpheus 8, the blah, 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 these are brand names of treatments that are out there, right? So your personal practitioner near you may have the same thing but in a different brand name, or it'll be
Sure.
a slightly different formula. I am going to say this: if you are going to have needles put in your face, even if it's just micro needling, which is just on the surface, please, 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 please go to someone who has a reputation, who's not doing it in their front room, who is not inexpensive. Please do not go to the cheapest person. Please go to somewhere that is a clinical environment of some kind and of someone who has really good reviews and reputation, because bad thing, like, we're talking about the health of your body. Like, this is, vanity cannot take over your sense when it comes to the health of your body. So that is my warning out there. But I am not opposed to needles and treatments. I just, like, please do it in an environment that is safe and sanitary. That is all that I
Get it done
ask.
properly.
Get it done
Absolutely.
properly. So I've done Profilo. Now, um, I kind of, I was told, don't expect too much. It's very soft. It's basically like a really thick hyaluronic acid, which is all, hyaluronic acid is you hear it a lot. The fun thing about hyaluronic acid, it's not actually an acid. It's a molecule that holds moisture, and it's in our bodies anyway. And the Profilo kind of is this injectable of that, and it kind of works its way. You inject it in your cheeks in a few, well, you don't. A practitioner puts it in your cheeks in a few spots, and it kind of moves through your face, and it lasts a couple of months, and so on and so forth. And I've seen varying effects on various people. I didn't see a super dramatic effect on me, and I was told that I would not see a super dramatic effect. Was I happy? Meh, it was okay. I'm glad I did it, but I don't know that I'd be running back. I don't know that it was the right thing for me. This is something really to remember. Again, we're all so different. We will react and respond to things differently. There is one other buzzword at the moment that we're hearing a lot is polynucleotides. Again, so we hear a lot about the salmon sperm one, which is so.
The what? I haven't. What's
Have
that
you not
one?
heard about this?
No.
Okay, so polynucleotides are another form of injectable treatment. And really, I would invite you to go seek out the expert knowledge either of a practitioner near you, or there's a lot of like Tweakment experts on the internet. The main one, her name has just gone out of my head right this second. I had it a second
We'll
ago.
put it in the show notes. Don't worry.
Yeah,
We'll
the
put it in the show
Tweakment
notes.
guide lady. Definitely listen to her because she does these things and she knows and she has a lot of knowledge. So polynucleotides, the sort of like the extract of salmon sperm that goes down the line. That's getting a lot of buzz. Just know that at every point in time, a treatment will come in and be like the bee's knees, and that company will put advertising behind it. We'll all hear about it. It probably has good results and then have mixed results for different people. My practitioner was explaining different things to me about why that particular product or the brand that she has of it would not be necessarily suitable for me or not really get me the effect that I was going to be looking for. So she advised something else, which I always appreciate, like appreciate an honest answer. So I haven't done it. Um, what I have done and what I'm doing at the moment, which I'm really into in terms of in salon treatments, is the M phase. So in a second, I'll get to what you can do at home. But remember, everything you do in salon will always be a stronger, more potent
Concentrated.
and
Yeah.
powerful version of anything you can
Yeah.
do at home. Because why? Because there's someone there to manage the whole process. So M-Face is basically, I always just kind of call it like, I don't know if anybody remembers like those slender tones from the 80s. It was like these pads you would put on yourself and just like
Yeah.
make you thinner. It kind of is like that. It's like
Exactly.
you go in and the lady puts pads on my face. You have to kind of do 4 treatments for it to start working. And it's basically on 2 regions of the face. These pads stick to your face and very strong, basically electrical current are kind of going through it and forcing your face to contract. So think of it as like a workout for your face. So it's like again, like I'll do like this, and then it pushes my face up as if I was smiling very broadly. Basically, that's the treatment. And you do
And the
several
reason
rounds
for
of this.
doing it. So, and the reason for doing it, what's that meant to do
So
to the
that's a
skin?
muscular thing. So for me personally, you really have to approach the sort of aging process. Well, for everyone, any practitioner, anybody in the business will always tell you you need to approach this from a kind of several pronged approach. So I said you have to
Yeah.
look at what you're eating. You have to look at what you're sleeping, because no expensive cream in the world is going to replace a good sleep or some good nutrition. The most expensive in salon treatment in the world won't replace like you talking to yourself badly every single day. Do you know what I mean? Okay.
Mhm.
So this M phase, or EMS plus, I think it's called. I don't know what the actual technical name for it is basically to work those muscles in the face and kind of get them lifting and doing their thing. Because for me, I'm doing the skincare and I'm doing the stuff at home for my skin, which the devices, again, I'll get to that in a second. I'm trying to eat well, I'm trying to sleep well, but I'm scared about the injectable. So this is something that can happen on the inside of my face to the muscles under
Mhm.
the skin, so that I'm working on that level. I'm working on like a
Yeah.
muscular level now rather than just on the surface of my skin.
It's
And
like
I'm
strength
also
training for
not
the body.
exactly, but I'm also not going deeper. Like I'm not going into the layers of the skin. I'm
Yeah.
going in a way
Yeah.
to a more structural place, right? And there are
Yeah.
different treatments that there's, variations on radio frequency, which sends like basically like radio frequency waves, through different layers of your skin. There's needling, micro needling, that's more on the surface. There's treatments like, for example, like the Morpheus or like HIFU, that combine different things at the same time. They're going to combine the radio frequency and the needling. Or sometimes there's the laser ones. There's ones that are Old Therapy, I believe there's one that's called. They all have these brand names, and now more and more you're getting these like combined therapies where it's going to be, say, like I said, the radio frequency and the microneedling. But sometimes you can get radio frequency on its own, right? And all of these do different things, from
Yeah.
working underneath the skin to working like the muscles, to working on the skin, to working really at a surface level. And by speaking to a practitioner, you'll be able
Mhm.
to understand what the best solution is for you based on the results you want to achieve.
I was going to
Um,
say that, Tahira, just to jump in. I think there is, like we've been talking about, there is a lot out there, and so I think you need that initial consultation. Find someone who you can trust, and then find that someone who can be honest with you. And it's not about for them making the money; it's about them for getting the result that you want, and
and
then you take it from there.
100%. Like, most of these people offer a free consultation, a free 30-minute
Yeah,
consultation. Go vet two or three of them, talk to them about your
yeah,
concerns,
yeah,
about what you'd like to see as a result, and see what program they can offer
hmm,
you that makes sense to you and that feels good in your body. And I talk a lot about feeling good in your body. Your gut will know who is right for you. Don't just
yeah,
go to Sally because your friend Joe or your cousin or your mother or your sister goes there, because Sally may be really good with your mother, your sister, or your friend Joe, but she may not be right for you, or
yeah,
he may not be right for you.
exactly.
Now,
So
the at home
yeah,
stuff.
what about at home?
Okay, so always remembering that there's going to be a caveat. There's only going to be a maximum level that you
Mm,
can reach for an at home device of any kind. I have championed and been a huge fan of LED since, like, I bought my first LED face mask Christmas 2020, like right in the middle of lockdown. Like, it was just, I just, that was my treat to myself. And I've been really happy ever since. I use the current body one. So here's my thing on LED. First of all, I think it works, but like all the devices, you have to be consistent, follow the
yeah.
directions from the manufacturer, and just do what this says. Do what it says, or it will not work. That's like
And
the basics.
and what
Um,
is the LED mask meant to do? So it's you had yours, you said 2020, but it seems to be everywhere more recently. So
yeah, so I think
it's
different ones
really
have
taken
come
off.
out. Yeah, and I
Okay.
mean, they were already around a little bit then. So I have the current body one, and they've just come out with the Series 2, which is a vastly superior mask. Like, it just is a better
Yeah.
device. It is it's 100 pounds more expensive, but I think there's like 100 more lights, or the way the lights are laid out are a lot cleverer. Full disclosure, I work
Yeah.
with Current Body. Um, uh, so I just think it's a clever mask. Again, you can get salon treatments for LED, which are really good for pigmentation. And LED is something that's like a really good thing to already start, say, in your 30s, right? And but
Okay.
it's something that can really, it's not necessarily going to go and like reverse everything, but it will change things. One thing I'll say about LEDs, there's sort of the red, infrared layers for that tend to be for anti-aging, collagen production, your skin, and then there's blue, which is more for, say, problem acne-prone skin, that kind of
Okay.
thing. Okay, so there are devices specifically for acne
Okay.
skin or
Hmm.
acne-prone skin. So I love mine. I also love that I can just like lie down with it. For me, more and
Any
more, like,
excuse.
well, for me, more and more, the devices that I have to move around my face,
Yeah.
it's just, if I have to do it for a really long time. There's that big one, I'm not going to say the name, the big giant brand name that is very expensive. I
Okay.
tried it, it didn't work for me. I have very, very mixed feelings about it. So I don't know if you want to invest that
Interesting.
money.
So again, don't look at the price of something to think that it's going to be better for you.
No, and I did on that occasion. I was just like, they,
Okay.
at this price point, it can't not work. And I was just really unimpressed by it. And also this idea of like holding a device on your face for
Hmm.
5, 10, 15, 20 minutes at a time. It's like, dude, like, I've got a life to live.
And so
I am
with the
The
mask
mask,
you
you
just
just
put it
put it
on,
on. And that's
you
like,
leave
so
it.
that's collagen production. That's like just very surface level. But like, for
Okay.
me, I love it. I recommend it highly. And for me, I really notice when I haven't used it regularly. That's really my
Okay.
visual, is like, and I
Okay.
know they have a very dedicated one for around the eyes. And I've asked other people in my circle, especially people with finer skin. So, for those of you who can't see me, I'm like kind of medium tone beige. I'm mixed race. I've got dry skin, but I've got like pretty good mixed up genetics in terms of how I age. But like for like a fairer, paler, British,
Me,
Irish,
I think probably
Scottish,
me. Yeah.
who's more prone to getting crow's feet. You've
Yeah.
got finer skin, so you like a lot of fine lines.
Yeah.
The sort of the LED mask works really well on those skins to sort of kind of buffer that a little bit.
Okay.
Then there's the devices that are a bit like, so I talked about the in salon M face before. You get microcurrent in salon, which is going to be stronger than what you get at home. So if you're going to do microcurrent in a salon, it will definitely 100% be better. This is working on the muscular level again. So there's the at home, there's the two big brands, there's a few other ones, but the two big brands are New Face and Zip. I have worked with both. Um, they both have their pros. I'm really big on the Zip at the moment, partially because it's small and it's quick. And
Okay.
it's a very small, very light device. What I kind of love about the Zip, and I had a gorgeous training with the founder, is that there's a lot, like you use the app to go with it, and there's a bunch of different treatments from the app. And I just thought it was the timing, but the waves and how the waves work in each one of those treatment is really dedicated to that single treatment. And it's quick and it's super portable. So like when I was away, it's small, it's easy, you put it away. The New Face is a slightly larger device. It has its great pros. And it would serve me very, very well for years. And I think it's a really still a very good product. There are other micro
Mm.
current devices out there, but effectively you're talking on a muscular level about like stimulating the muscle, activating the muscle, that kind of thing. And they all come with their gel conductors. You put this gel on your face and then you move the device around your face. So
Okay.
back to if it's something that's quick and easy, like I
Hmm.
really love it and it works. So like it can't be quick and easy and not work. That's pointless. But there are other ones on the market, but I haven't tried them all.
Okay.
At home devices, the next one is there's a lot of RF devices, so radio frequency.
Cool.
Um, the technology of radio frequency, I'm going to be super honest with you, I don't fully understand it. Like some of this stuff is a bit mystical and magical to me, and I'll read the things and I'll be like, I think I understand what they're saying.
Yeah.
But basically this is more about sound waves, waves and heat waves, sorry, like and like going and activating and collagen production and just kind of tricking your cells into doing what they do. um, I've had some really good progress with one of the devices, and then I had zero action from a different device. So I think this is
And they
once
meant to have
again
done the same thing.
super, yeah, super individual. Sometimes for me, like you just get down into the personal ergonomics of it.
Mm.
Like one of the devices, like I hated the way, I had a very hard time keeping the contact of all the contact points on my skin. It was clunky, it was awkward. The other one's a lot easier to use, but I didn't feel like it necessarily worked. Uh, like it worked better, but I don't know. So at home RF is still a good idea, a good option. But I think in terms of radio frequency, you're probably better off spending the money going to the salon. And I get when you go to the
Yeah.
salon, it's time and money. But then my thing would be like, well, then choose a different at home device and get that
Yeah.
one used. Go for the professional one on
Yeah.
that.
Brilliant.
But I'll
Yeah.
say this, I mentioned Sandra Lanshin before. I highly recommend people follow her because she's got loads of great gua sha routines. And that, like, fine, she has the like Rolls Royce of gua shas, but with your hands and with a facial tool, there is a lot you can actually do.
Mm.
No, it's not miraculous. No, it's not always the same as some of the treatments that you can get out there. But then there's a whole other world in which I'm like, can't we just age? Like, can't we just be okay?
Mm.
Can we
Yeah.
stop equating beauty and youth? Can we be okay with lines? Like even for myself, it's like a daily. I don't know if I'm always contributing to the problem or if I'm a solution of the part of this. Like, am I part of the problem, part of the solution? I really can't answer that question. But I
Well,
really
I
want
was,
us
I
to
was going to
focus a
bring
lot
up,
on that, like
yeah, I was going to bring
acceptance
up
as
the
well.
anti-aging because it's a vast industry, Tahira, and it
Hmm.
is the narrative is all about chasing youth. How can we stay looking as young as for as long as possible? So it would be great if we could reframe that. How can we reframe that and think of aging as more of an empowering journey and not something we should be terrified of?
Yeah, so another thing that like I just always is about awareness, and the more awareness you have, the more choice and control you have over your decisions. And be aware that most marketing of every, even brands that I love, even products that I love, are speaking to your fear that you will become irrelevant
Mm.
once you start to age. That is the fear that they are trying to remind you of. And it's like a daily fight to not succumb to
Yeah.
that and be like, okay, I am going to choose that I want to look as vital as I feel. I want to use that biofeedback of looking vital to feel vital. So it's a two-way street.
Mm.
Um, I kind of, for the most part, I think, I don't know if I've eliminated all. I don't think I have. I think it would be very difficult. I tend to not work if I see that the word anti-aging is in a brand's narrative, I will generally be like, no thanks. Or I will make a comment saying, I think this can be improved, especially if there's
Same.
someone I really want to work with, because people make mistakes and people don't realize. And
Mm.
sometimes packaging is old and they've changed the packaging. More and more brands are talking about pro aging. And I think that we have this mental equation, partially because of the history of time, with feminine youth and beauty. And in terms of empowering, it's like, we know more. Like, we know more, but I don't particularly like, I don't care that I'm smarter now than I was in my 20s. When one day, like, I'm looking at my jowls and I'm like, oh, that's really irritating. Do you know what I mean? It's going to be
Mm.
normal to have those moments where you're like, oh, I really wish my jowls were still like up here near my cheekbones, but they're kind of not. But it's also to catch myself in that narrative and be like, okay, I'm going to allow
Mhm.
myself this one moment of mourning the fact that I'm not 20, because my 20s were great. My 30s were great. Last year was great. You know what I mean? I think it's
Yeah,
okay. Like,
exactly.
I think it's okay to give yourself a little bit of permission to be like, "Oh, I remember that girl. She was fantastic. Like, what can I do to
Eh,
bring her into the now?" But also, what can I also let go of? Because there was a lot of stupid stuff that she was doing, or silly decisions, or not loving herself and not caring about herself. So there's
but
that
you also don't
narrative.
want you don't want to get into your 60s or older and look back at your 40s and think I didn't appreciate what
Yeah,
is happening here and
100%.
now, isn't
So that's
it?
why we also kind of, yeah, I love that. I love that statement. Like, let's be here in the here and now. And but it's okay also to be like, I would like to remain as youthful looking as possible, but not equate my entire value and self-worth on that. Like,
Yeah,
I am
yeah.
not going to allow, face cream number 762 to dictate to me what my self-worth is. My self-worth, like, I get to choose my skincare, my processes for my beauty, because I choose to care for my heart, because I choose to care for my inner
Yeah.
world. And yes, it's a process. And no, not every day is fantastic. And some will be, I know, and I'm just going to call it out because I'm going to say it because, oh, that's easy for you. People say to me in this country all the time, oh, you got such a lovely skin color. Well,
Mm.
thanks, mom. She's dark. Yay, I get to have that. But you're so beautiful too. You're so gorgeous too, with your fairer skin and your light hair. And like, there's not one that's better or more beautiful than
Mm.
the other. Beauty is not a yes and no, black and white. She is and you aren't. It's all beautiful. And it's just
Totally.
learning that some of these standards make zero sense.
Yeah. So here we're going to move on to makeup because
Oh,
is that okay to do? Because
yeah, of
I want to kind
course.
of I want to
I feel like everybody's head is going to be spinning with all this information.
there is so much information. Well, we can
Of
do maybe kind of a bite size roundup of
course.
makeup, and we can come down and do a longer session at another time. But obviously, skincare, like you said at the very beginning, you've got to get your skincare right. So
Yeah.
hopefully, when everyone's gone back and listened to this and looked into some of the brands and potentially the treatments that you suggested, and they're feeling confident with how their skin is. When it comes to our makeup, as we get older, we are going to have different expectations. I'm personally on the pursuit of just looking fresh and as natural as possible, but I need that makeup. And I went into this the a makeup shop the other day, and I went in with such high expectations to Hera. I thought I'm going to come out and I'm going to be glowing. And I went in, and one, I was a rabbit in the headlights because there was so many product. I didn't know where to start. And then the girl, who was very sweet, who helped me, she was much
12.
younger than me. Pretty much, pretty much. Lovely skin, also wearing a lot of makeup. So
Mm,
one, she doesn't have the same skin as me. One, and then the other thing is I don't want to wear that much makeup. And I felt that I got kind of grouped with the older women. Oh, put her in that section. And so
mm.
can you suggest when it comes to brands for older women, and if we wanted to create a more fresh, natural look, could you just reel off maybe, some makeup tricks or some brands that we should be looking at?
The brands I tend to work with and love the most are going to be mostly found online, depending on where you are, unless you're like really are in London because of just the way things are. Okay, so again, invest in your skincare. So I love a glowy base. So it keeping in mind that especially if you've had dry skin, it will get drier in your 40s. So this glow that you're looking for, or this youthfulness that you're looking for, so get all that juicy skincare on. And then I love a glowy base. So sometimes that means like one of my sunscreens actually is a bit like has a glowy dewy finish. So then I'm going to start with that, and then I know I don't need some more. Sometimes you can use a radiance primer. There's loads of them out there. Or you can even use something like a Weleda Skin Food. But because it's got like that balminess, it's got that kind of richness, that glow, and then you can go and put your makeup on top. I love that lit from
Okay.
within look. So often I'll start with a glowing primer first, or a glowing base of some kind, like I said, the sunscreen, or like a balmy kind of moisturizer or primer. Then I'll do makeup. So I always think like less is more. I tend to go for liquid or cream formulas in 40s just to kind of deal with that kind of drier skin effect.
Mhm.
I have really heavy dark circles under my eyes. I was born that way. So I have to use a lot of concealer products. So wherever I have to put more concealer, or if I'm with a client and I have to put more concealer, or if I have to put more coverage somewhere, especially you're just going to have to powder
Mm.
to fix that into place. So what you want to do is I
Okay.
much prefer a loose powder over a pressed powder. The pressed powders have binders in them, which can feel and look thick on your skin. So you want to
Okay.
opt for a loose powder, and you want to get a powder
Mhm.
puff. So often they'll come with their little powder puff, or you can, from most makeup supplies, you can get a washable powder puff. And then maybe you're using your powder puff only where you need to set the makeup where it moves the most. This is where you get into a tricksy spot. For example, under the eye, because that's generally where we apply concealer. So you're going to have a thicker layer of makeup
Yes.
on the thinnest part of the thinnest skin on your face, in a highly movable part that has lines in it. So we have to kind of accept, especially because I work with more natural products that don't have like a lot of those binders that will just sit on your face for and like kind of suffocate the skin, which is why I use them. I have to accept that every couple of hours I might just have to look in the mirror and use my fourth
Okay.
finger to just pat out any lines that may have formed, or I may have to
Okay.
repowder. I just accept that that's part of life. Like I'm okay with
Okay.
that. What you can do then is so just powder where you need to, and then say, for example, on your cheeks, where pretty much if you've kind of applied your foundation with a brush, a sponge, your fingers, and rubbed it in a bit, it's kind of not going to go anywhere. It might not need powder. So you might not need powder all over your face, which will help with
Okay.
that dryness. For example,
Okay.
I never put anything on my forehead. My forehead is like it's like from a different human being. The skin on my forehead just doesn't look like the skin on the rest of my face. So I tend to not put makeup there. So remember, you don't have to put makeup on every square centimeter of your face. You can be clever with it and maybe have some
Okay.
more around your eyes, around your nose, and around your mouth. Maybe on some, if you've got some pigmentation spots on your skin,
Mhm.
or just like use them as freckles. Like be okay with that. Liquid formulas. Okay, so we've got the liquid formula. Then what you want to do, here's like my biggest makeup artist trick, is using, I just put a post up yesterday about cheek foam pencils. So they're an amazing Canadian brand that have like concealer pencils. So imagine a kind of thicker consistency concealer in like a crayon format. So you're going to get more pigment with less product. So it's a really good targeted treatment. And my two biggest tricks is using something like that or a thicker concealer to hide or mask any downward facing lines on your face. So, for example, where your eye folds on the outer corner of your eye, for those of you who are listening, not watching, there's going to be a natural little discoloration where your eye actually folds, and that naturally has a slightly downturned angle. What you want to do is get a bit of concealer on that. And as soon as you cut off that line, that lifts the eye right up.
Okay.
Around the nose,
Okay.
like the little redness and irritation we get around the nose, that draws the eye like someone else's eye to that. So as soon as you conceal that with a bit of concealer, a bit of foundation, or a thicker concealer, and set that, you lose that down turn. And then around the
Okay.
mouth, we often, especially with age, especially on the top lip, will get like pigmentation. So there's that kind of shadow that's happening on the top lip. I call it the freckle mustache. So if you conceal that, and if you conceal underneath your lip, especially the lower outer corners of your lips, and just cut that off, like cut any, pigmentation or maybe discoloration, or your lip line sort of softens with age. If you do that and do nothing else, you've got a gorgeous no makeup look, and people will be like, "Oh my
Yeah.
God, you look amazing," and you'll
Oh
have glowing skin. um, Curling your eyelashes. So what we're trying to do
my
is
gosh.
anything that looks like it might be going down, we
Turn
trick
up.
it back up. Okay. So you're brushing your eyebrows upwards. If you don't have a lot, you can have them tinted. You're brushing the eyebrows upwards. You're putting a gel. I don't love a colored gel. I prefer a translucent gel and then a pencil to fill, but everybody's different. And so you want to brush your eyebrows up, and then you want to curl your lashes up. So now
Yeah.
we've done everything we can to create that upwards motion. And because remember, makeup is just art tricks, just
Yeah.
painting tricks. So curl your
Could do
lashes
with
up and
light as
lots of
well.
mascara. Exactly.
Okay.
Lots of mascara upwards. And then suddenly, like, everything's lifted. And then you can do a
Okay.
little bit of glow, like I love a stick luminizer highlighter that's in a stick, or like in a cream form, right at the top of your cheekbones, almost on the edge of the bottom of your eye socket, like right high on your cheekbones. That
Again, to
always,
create
like,
that lift.
again, you're always
Okay.
lifting, lift, 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 lift.
Okay.
Um, and that, like that, those little bits will go
Yeah.
a long way to giving that more useful, that glowing appearance without necessarily like heavy makeup, a lot of makeup. And if you are a makeup lover and you love having all those, steps and the layers, then go for it. Like, I
Yeah.
love the character from, the Kathleen Turner in Schitt's Creek, like the big smoky eye and the red lips at all
Yes.
time. Go massive or go home if you love it. But if you prefer something softer and more natural, just those few key bits, like making everything go upward, having a clean skin, concealing around the eye, the nose, the mouth, and then curling your lashes up and brushing your eyebrows up. Boom shakalaka, like Bob's your uncle.
I haven't thought about using eyelash curlers for I don't even know when, but I'm going to go and buy some straight
No, no, I
away.
love a lash curler.
That's
Some people, I
amazing.
tried for the first time the lash lift service. I would say, like,
Okay.
it's great. It's really nice. I would kind of probably only do it either before a holiday or before an event
Yeah.
if were to do it again. But it's fantastic. Some people swear by it. And lash serums. So that's a really good one. Our skin on our skin on our hair tends to get thinner, especially around the hairline, eyebrows, eyelashes. There's only one lash serum that works for me that doesn't make me want to claw my eyes out, which is the Swede one.
Okay.
But again, consistency is key. If you don't use it, it won't work. The
Yeah.
Molly, oh, the Blink Brow Bar Lash Serum, which is like a mascara. That's a really nice one. That's more like a conditioning one that will help really, prevent breakage and stuff like that. And the Molly brow oil and their little mini cancel wand. Oh, gorge, 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 gorge. That's really good for eyebrows.
Okay, okay. There are clearly lots of different ones out there that people can use.
Mm,
What I suggest to here is that people get in touch with you directly because
yes.
you have got a wealth of
Yeah.
knowledge and information and passion, which is just so lovely. It's so lovely to sit here
Yeah.
and listen to you just get so excited about makeup and skincare. And I've got a lot of product, but it sits in its packaging. So I'm going to go through it
Mm,
and do a bit of a clear out and make sure that it's obviously working for
yeah.
me and what I think my skin needs. But for people that do want to get in touch with you then, Tahira, where can they find out about you, your work? You mentioned about an online consultation as well. Can you
Yeah.
share all that with us?
I can. But just to say, when you're going to go, so one thing I'm going to advise all of you out there to do is then go back to your makeup and your skincare. And the first thing you're going to do, you're going to see if anything's expired, anything is old, and you're going to dispose of it properly. So if you're in the UK, loads of shops, pharmacies have like beauty recycling programs or boxes that you just bring your stuff to. Some of them offer points in exchange. So just have a look at that. Glass jars, clean them out, put them in the recycling. Um, if there's something that's still usable but you don't want to use it anymore, give it to a friend. Always finish what
Hmm.
you have, and then, like, if you're thinking, oh, I want all natural skincare right now, finish what you have, and item by item then replace with something that is, better for the environment, better for your skin, better for the people around you, the community around you. um, I get a lot of questions around sustainable beauty. My thing is always choose a set of ethics that is important to you and then go with that one, because it is a minefield. Not every vegan
Hmm.
product is sustainable. Not every sustainable product is, doesn't contain animal products. So pick the ethos or several ethics that are closest to your heart and just stick with those. Some of it might be about where the products are made or what ingredients they have. So just
Hmm.
do that. So once you are looking at replacing your stuff, you can go find me online. So Instagram really is my main space. So I am there as at Tahira_makeup. And if you'd like, you can also check out my blog, website, platform, whatever you want to call it these days, which is beautybytahira.com. My name is Tahira, Tahira. And then contact me there. There are plenty of places to contact me, either via DM. There's buttons to an email link, and then you can tell me what you need, and I can offer you see what is best for you. Yeah, and that's the best way to find me.
You also do amazing with your stories as well. You do kind of makeup videos or tutorials, and you've got
Mm.
the Instagram kind of group as well going on
Yes.
as well. So
So
there's
I've got
lots
my
of ways.
broadcast channel. So if you do come
Yeah.
over to Tahira_makeup on Instagram, please come join the broadcast channel. We have fun in there. No, I mean, it's really just where I'll put links up first. I will kind of go a little bit behind the scenes with what's going on.
Yeah.
I try not to do it every day because I know that's super annoying in your inbox to just constantly have these messages. But if I'm excited about something, which I get excited about a lot of things, that's where you can find me.
Well, your passion is contagious. I love it. And thank
Thank
you so much,
you.
so,
My
so much for
pleasure.
today.
Thank you so much for having me. And if you do come
And
over, please say that you've come over from this podcast, just so I know.
yes,
That would be really great,
exactly.
and that'd be really helpful.
Exactly. Well, maybe
Uh,
we'll have to do a part two a bit more about actually doing some makeup tutorials actually online. So we'll talk about
yeah,
that
that's a
another
visual
time.
one. That's hard to do on the radio.
Yeah, that's
Amazing.
true. That's true. All right. Lovely to
Brilliant. Thank you
see you.
so much. Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.